Hey, I'm Olivia Evans. I'm 28 and have fought tooth and nail to become a marketing executive. Sounds great, right? It is, except for one little problem, my family. Specifically, my dad, Richard Evans. He's this hotshot businessman who's always made me feel like I'm never enough. Growing up, it was all about Mark. Mark this, Mark that. My cousin, the golden child of the Evans family. I swear, if my dad could have swapped me for him, he wouldn't have fought twice. I remember once when I was 10, I was so excited because I'd won first place in the school science fair. I ran into Dad's office, trophy in hand, beaming. And what did he say? "That's nice, sweetie. Did you hear Mark made the varsity football team as a freshman?" I mean, seriously, it was always like that. Mark was perfect, and I was just there, an afterthought. The only person who ever truly understood me was my mom. She was my rock, always ready with a hug and words of encouragement. When she passed away when I was 18, my world collapsed. Dad, he buried himself in work, leaving me alone to deal with my grief. Now, here I am, dreading another annual family reunion at Dad's fancy estate. As I pack my bag, my phone buzzes. Aunt Susan. "Hey, sweetie, can't wait to see you tomorrow." "You're coming, right?" I sigh, typing back a quick, "Wouldn't miss it," before tossing my phone aside. Why do I keep putting myself through this? I mutter, throwing a few more outfits into my suitcase. The next day, I pull up to Dad's estate, my stomach in knots. I spot Uncle Tom's car in the driveway, which means the golden boy is already here. Great. I ring the doorbell, plastering on my best fake smile. Aunt Susan opens the door, her face lighting up. "Olivia, look at you, sweetie. You get more beautiful every time I see you." I force a laugh. "Thanks, Aunt Susan. You look great too." She ushers me inside, chattering away. "Everyone's out back. Your father's grilling, and oh, Mark brought his new girlfriend. She's just lovely." Of course he did. I bet Dad's already planning their wedding. I take a deep breath and step onto the patio, forcing a smile as I approach the group. Dad's at the grill, and Mark's beside him, looking as smug as ever. "Well, well, look who finally decided to show up," my father says, his words slightly slurred. "Traffic was awful," I lie, trying to keep things civil. "How's everyone?" Mark jumps in. "Oh, we're great. I was just telling Uncle Rick about my new business venture. It's going to be huge." I nod, barely listening as Mark dives into his latest get-rich-quick scheme. My eyes wander around the patio, scanning the familiar faces of my relatives, all hanging on Mark's every word. Aunt Susan appears beside me, handing me a glass of wine. "Here, sweetie, you look like you need this." "Thanks," I murmur, taking a long sip. As the evening drags on, we gather around the dining table on the patio. The tension is thick, at least for me. Everyone else seems to be having a grand old time, laughing at my father's increasingly inappropriate jokes. Then, out of nowhere, my dad stands up, swaying slightly. "I'd like to make a toast," he announces, his voice booming. "To my nephew, Mark, the son I never had." A chorus of cheers erupts, but I feel my face flush with embarrassment and anger. "Mark, my boy," my father continues, "you've made me proud. Your new business venture is exactly the kind of innovation this family needs, unlike some people." His eyes flicker toward me just for a second before looking away. I grit my wine glass tighter, my knuckles turning white. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. You know my father slurs. I always thought having kids would be great, but sometimes mistakes happen. The table falls silent. All eyes turn to me. "Dad?" I whisper, my voice barely audible. "What are you saying?" He laughs, a cold, bitter sound. "Oh, come on, Olivia. You know you were never part of the plan. Your mother insisted on keeping you, but me? I knew you'd never measure up to the Evans name." The silence that follows is suffocating. I shot up so fast that my chair clattered to the floor behind me. "Excuse me," I managed to choke out before fleeing into the house. My feet carried me to my father's study, where I collapsed into tears, my mind racing. How could he say that, in front of everyone? The door creaked open behind me, and I didn't have to turn around to know it was him. "What do you want?" I spat, my voice hoarse. "To explain," he said, oddly calm. "Explain what?" "That I'm not good enough for this family's precious legacy." I spun around to face him, my heart pounding. He sighed heavily, settling into his leather chair. "It's not just about that. I've made some changes to my will, Olivia. Mark has shown real promise, and I think it's time. You're giving him my inheritance, I interrupted, my disbelief turning to rage. He didn't even flinch. The majority of it, yes. It's what's best for the family business. I stared at him, my heart sinking. So that's it. You're just writing me off, like I don't even matter. Don't be dramatic, Olivia, he said, waving his hand dismissively. You'll still get something, just not as much as we initially discussed. I stood there, shaking with anger and hurt. You know what? Keep it. Keep all of it. I don't want anything from you. He raised a brow. Don't be hasty. No, I cut him off, my voice sharp and steady. I'm done. Done with you, with this family, with all of it. You want Mark as your heir? Fine. But don't expect to hear from me ever again. I stormed out, ignoring the curious and concerned stares from my relatives as I grabbed my purse and keys. Just as I reached my car, I heard Aunt Susan's voice calling after me. Olivia, wait. Where are you going? I turned back, my voice icy. Ask your brother. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to tell you all about his mistake. Without another word, I got into my car and drove away, tears blurring my vision as the estate faded in my rearview mirror. I vowed then and there that this would be the last time Richard Evans or any of them would hurt me again. I was done with this toxic family for good. By the time I stumbled into my apartment, I was emotionally drained. My phone buzzed. It was Zoe, my best friend. Girl, where are you? I thought we were grabbing drinks tonight. Her text read. Zoe, you won't believe the night I've had. I typed back, my fingers trembling as I fought back fresh tears. I'm coming over. Don't move, she replied instantly. 30 minutes later, Zoe was at my door, a bottle of wine in hand and sympathy in her eyes. I poured my heart out to her. Dad's drunken speech, the mistake comment, the inheritance bombshell. That rat bastard, Zoe muttered, pouring us both another glass of wine. Liv, you can't let him get away with this. What am I supposed to do? It's his money. Zoe's eyes lit up. What if there's more to the story? Your mom always seemed, I don't know, like she was protecting you from something. I frowned. What do you mean? Remember how she'd get weird anytime your dad's business came up? Maybe there's dirt you don't know about. The idea gnawed at me. My mom's old letters were still in the attic. Maybe they held some answers. The next morning, nursing a hangover, I climbed into the attic. Dust-covered boxes were stacked everywhere. After an hour of searching, I found a small locked box labeled Elizabeth's Personal. Inside were dozens of letters, but one stood out. In my mom's handwriting, it read, My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, I'm gone. There's so much I wanted to tell you, about your father, about our family, things I was too afraid to say. Know that I've left something for you, something your father doesn't know about. It's not much, but it's yours. Look for the key where the sun always shines. All my love, Mom. My hands shook as I held the letter. What did she mean? What was Dad hiding? I couldn't do this alone. That's how I found myself in a dimly lit office, sitting across from Jake, a private investigator with a 5 o'clock shadow and eyes that had seen too much. So, you want me to dig up dirt on your old man? Jake asked, leaning back in his creaky chair. I need to know the truth, about him, about the business, everything. Jake nodded slowly. All right, Miss Evans. But I warn you, Jake said, leaning back in his chair, sometimes the truth ain't pretty. A week later, Jake called. You better come down here. You're going to want to see this yourself. I rushed to his office, where he had documents scattered across his desk. Your daddy's been a busy boy, Jake began, his tone grim. Offshore accounts, shell companies, the works. And get this, your cousin Mark? He's in it up to his eyeballs too. I flipped through the files, my stomach twisting with every page. Fraud, embezzlement, insider trading. It was all there in black and white. There's more, Jake added. Your mom, she knew. That's why she set up a separate account for you. It's not much compared to your dad's fortune, but it's clean, and it's all yours. I sat there stunned. Mom had known all along. She tried to protect me the only way she could. What do I do now? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. Jake leaned forward, his eyes steady. That's up to you, Miss Evans. But if I were you, I'd make him pay. As I left Jake's office, my mind was spinning. I had the truth now. But what was I going to do with it? One thing was clear, this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Dad and Mark thought they could push me aside, but they had no idea what was coming. And now here I am, standing outside Dad's office, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. The USB drive in my hand feels like it weighs a ton. It's showtime. I stride in, channeling all the confidence I've learned to fake over the years. Dad and Mark look up, surprise flickering across their faces before it hardens into annoyance. "What's the meaning of this, Olivia?" Dad barks, his voice sharp. I smirk, feeling the power shift in the room. "Oh, just thought I'd drop by for a little family meeting. You know, to discuss offshore accounts, fraud, the usual Evans family business." Their faces? Priceless. I wish I had a camera. "You can't prove anything," Mark sputters, his voice shaky. "Actually, cousin dearest," I say, pulling out the USB drive, "I can. And I will. Unless." Long story short, I walked out of that office with my rightful share of the company and a very legally binding agreement. Turns out, I'm pretty good at hostile takeovers. So what's next for Olivia Evans? Who knows? But one thing's for sure. I'm done living in anyone's shadow. This is my story now, and I'm just getting started. The story of Olivia Evans has come to an end. What would you do if you discovered your family's dark secrets? Would you expose them, even if it meant destroying your family's reputation? Or would you stay quiet to protect your loved ones? How far would you go for justice? Is revenge ever truly worth it? Share your thoughts in the comments below.